My name is Violet Newby, and I would like to welcome you to Paint a Beautiful Picture. Today's topic is I Still Love You When. You can fill a lot of blanks in there because every single one of us have places where we have an end point or something that breaks a relationship. Let me tell you something. When you have a child, the love of a parent needs to be unconditional. I'm going to start right off and ask you this question. Has anyone ever loved you unconditionally? Because sadly, I can tell you that until very recently, most of my life, my answer would be no. My mom and dad definitely did not. Most of my friends didn't. I can certainly tell you that my husbands did not love me unconditionally. I think it's a lot rarer than we might know. I can tell you that my sons do, and I love them unconditionally as well. And so, if you've never experienced unconditional love, you don't know how that feels or what that looks like. It may be really challenging to love your children unconditionally. And I know this because I had this battle when I was a young woman. I've never lied to you, and honestly, I don't think that I ever will. There were some things that was really tough to love my kids through. So, you need to get this established, and I do mean firmly established as a principle for your whole life, and that a great part of what it means to have deep affection and love for your child, to really treasure them, is that you are still going to love them when. I will say to you that I know a mom whose son killed someone. I mean, literally, horrifically killed someone. And she stayed so faithful in her love for that son, and she visited him in prison, and she wrote him, and she continued to really love him. I will acknowledge to you that there was an element of that was unhealthy because she also defended what he did. Well, if this wouldn't have happened, and she made all these excuses for him, that wasn't really healthy. But I will say to you that she definitely unconditionally loved that man because of her mother's heart. I think maybe daddies at times have a clearer breaking point. Like, yeah, I've seen a lot of dads break off their relationship with their children. I guess there's something inherent in the relationship or the heart of a mom that it might be a little easier. But I've definitely seen moms turn around and walk away from their families or their children. They don't have unconditional love, and they're not going to love you past whatever it is, fill in the blank. And that's why I used this title, what is going to break the love or the bond of love that you have with your child? Because if there is something, you got to start dealing with that today while they're little or before anything ever happens. So you strengthen your love and you strengthen the bond, and I do mean healthy ones. And so that in spite of what they may do and how much that may be difficult for you, you can continue to love them. I will say that I've had things happen in my relationships with my sons that could have broken our bonds when I was younger. And so I really started dealing with this as a young person. I don't think anyone helped me deal with it as much as my relationship with God helped me deal with it. Because God does, in fact, love unconditionally. He doesn't say, on the day that you blank, I'm never going to love you again. Yeah, that's not how it goes. It's, I already know about you. I know the depths of your humanity, and I know the weaknesses that are in you, and I know the possibility of you're doing things wrong, like extremely wrong, and I'm never going to stop loving you. Oh, that's just so reassuring. It really is. And let me tell you, it's reassuring to a child. It establishes a very strong and firm foundation for them. And all human beings do better with a strong and a firm foundation, and that includes your children. And so you've got to get this straight in your head. I'm still going to love you when. So let's talk about that. I've seen parents literally who've had kids steal 20 bucks out of their purse or their wallet to go buy drugs, and the parents threw them out of the house and never talked to them again. I've literally seen that. Okay. I'd hate to tell you how much money I've had stolen from me, not by my own children, well, my stepdaughter, but, nieces and nephews and other people that I helped to take care of. I didn't stop loving them because they stole from me. But it's a hard one. I admit it. It's a big level of betrayal, and it's really, it's like, ugh. It's just such a bad feeling. It really, it's an assault against your person that someone would really literally get into your money and take it so they could do something foolish when you need to buy groceries and pay the light bill. It's not a good feeling. And yet, I will still love you when you steal from me, when you make really dumb decisions about taking my money, which I worked really hard to earn, and you squander it. But I'm still going to love you when you do that. I'm still going to love you when you make bad decisions, immoral decisions, decisions that go against the standards and the guidelines in our household. I'm going to still love you when you do that. So you steal a car, you go rob a liquor store, you trade sex for drugs, you demean yourself by dressing like I don't even know what, not in front of me, but you walk out of this house and go to your friends and put on what I call hardly clothes, but anyway, and all this makeup and go to the club and you're 15 years old and you got somebody to get you a false ID. And I'd really love to put you out of my house because you know better than this. And I even know where that road's going to take you, but I'm still going to love you when you do all of this crazy, stupid, bad stuff that goes against everything that you know that you're not supposed to do. I'm going to love you when you do all of these things. So let's go back. Love is not all affection and ooey gooey gushy stuff, right? If you haven't heard this yet, you need to start at the beginning because you're going to get the message. Love is about half emotion and about half discipline. Because when you really love a child, you're going to discipline them. They need it. Kids do all kinds of dumb stuff. They don't know better. They're only going to learn better when you teach them. I didn't say beat the living stuffings out of them. I said discipline them. For some child, that might just be a firm talking to, and they're going to get it. For some children, that might be getting put into timeout. For some children, it might be getting grounded for a week. It depends on the child. But discipline is the other half of love. Two sides of a coin. Okay, we haven't talked about this one for a while. A coin has its value. It's still a quarter, whether you're looking at the head or the tail, but it doesn't look the same on both sides. Love is affection and discipline. Okay, so I'm still going to love you, and I'm going to love you enough to put some skids on that junkie behavior, baby. Yes, you better get ready. Seriously, I was that mama. I didn't have any trouble with having enough courage to get in front of my kids and keep them from going down a bad road. That is part of love. But it's not withdrawal. It's not extensive disappointment. It is an insult. You do not sit there and insult your kid. And let me tell you, this is an insult. It drove me crazy when I heard it. I didn't hear it that much, but I heard it come out of my parents' mouths to some of my brothers and sisters. Well, I didn't raise you like this. Oh, well, I hate to tell you, even as a kid, I'm talking like 8, 9, or 10, in my mind, I thought, oh, I beg to differ. Yeah, honey, you raised them just like that. Well, I'm going to do this because it feels good for me and I don't really care who it hurts, including you kids sometimes. And then my brothers and sisters would do that as teenagers, and mom and dad would be like, I don't raise you like this. Yeah, I think you kind of did. Um, just so you know, there are difficulties in raising kids without dealing with stuff, and then they start repeat that behavior, and you're all over their back. That's because you don't have enough guts to get on your own case and deal with your own stuff. Just saying. All right. The question is, can you still love yourself when? Because that's a big deal. All right. So I've known people, yeah, I will not give very many specifics here, but I'm just going to say I have known people who've had affairs, including pastors or pastors' wives. I've known people who stole things, people that were moral, but like that opportunity just kind of showed up in front of their face and they got greedy and they took stuff that didn't belong to them. I've seen people abuse people both verbally and physically. And they were so ashamed and they felt so awful later. They had a really hard time dealing with themselves. So, can you answer that question about I will still love you when in relationship to your own life? If you really mess up, if you blow it so badly, can you still love yourself? Can you still extend forgiveness and acceptance to yourself when you mess up? Can you take responsibility and acknowledge out loud with words to the person that you hurt that this was wrong? I should have never done this. I am tragically sorry that I did this. And I know that I'm responsible for the break in our relationship or the difficulty that we're experiencing right now. I can understand why you're going to fire me and prosecute me. I don't blame you. I had no business stealing from you. Can you stand up and take responsibility and still love yourself? Because when you do the right thing and you take responsibility, you can respect yourself, and respect is a part of love. Okay? It's really and truly an important thing to look at. I will still love you when you mess up, when you fail, when you disappoint me, when you cause me sorrow. I will still love you when these things happen. You need to be able to give your own self that kind of love and grace as a human being. It's not an excuse like, okay, well, I could just go do whatever I need to do because I'm still going to love me. Oh, no, no. Don't you ever say, oh, I heard Miss Newbie and that's what she said. Oh, no, I did not. Mm-mm. I said, when, as a human being, you fail or you mess up or you have problems or you disappoint someone, including yourself, can you have grace and forgiveness and extend it to yourself? And then when your mate, your co parent, your spouse does things, can you still love them? Can you still do what is best for them? Can you still put emotional, mental, and spiritual energy into their life and the development of their life in a good way? Can you still love them? Can you forgive them? Can you move on with them past what happened? And can you love your child still, even when whatever that thing is that you believe might be the breaking point for you? I'm going to end this session with this. There are some things that really are the end. I want you to know that. I'm not saying to you, you have to stay till forever like the guy kills you. Okay? I have been in an abusive relationship before. I probably stayed way longer than I ever should have stayed. Some of that has to do with my own loyalty. I really wasn't afraid of taking care of myself or my kids. That wasn't really a problem. It was a lot more about maybe misguided loyalty. If someone is repetitively hurting you, get out. I especially mean that in a physical sense. But if they won't let you out of the house and they won't let you buy new clothes and they refuse to allow you to have friends and you can't call even your mama on the phone without that person knowing it, that is still abuse. You don't have to stay where someone is going to treat you so horrifically and demean you and even assault you as a human being. It's especially true with physical violence. At first, they might start off just slapping you or pushing you around, then they're punching you in the face, and after a while, you have broken bones. Yeah, you do not have to stay for that. But I'm going to tell you this. You still need to forgive. You may not need to reconcile. You may not need to continue to be there, but you still need to forgive. And I will say, occasionally, depending on what a kid has gone through, and especially if you're not even starting to watch this until your kids are teens, if your child is physically abusive to you, you need to deal with that. You can look at them and say, I still love you, but I'm not going to stand here and take this. Like literally, you also need to get out of that situation, whether that means you need to let your child go live with an aunt or one of your brothers and sisters. You don't need to continue to allow that to happen. You need to love your child enough to intervene appropriately to stop destructive behavior at that level. As well, if your child is really involved in drugs or alcohol abuse and they are underage and you have legal authority, part of love is deal with that. Take them somewhere and do an intervention. Put them into a treatment center. They might be mad at you about that for the next 10 years, but eventually they're going to get over that. They're going to deal with that at a different level. So today I really want to encourage you. Unconditional love as a parent is so crucial for your child's well-being and, very honestly, for the sake of your own soul. So I want you to start contemplating this one. What would happen in my relationship with my child that could break this love? I mean, use your head, look at other things that you know have happened, and then determine in your heart, no matter whatever happens, I'm going to show unconditional love to my child, both sides of it too, affection and discipline. I'm always going to do what is good and best to my knowledge for my child's well-being. I will always love my child. Thank you so much for joining me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.